nice cup of morning roast. Featuring
Fillmore's finest, Monte Hill. The pride of the Excelsior, Joe Butcher Boy Shasky. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, the morning roast.
And Golden State will have to wait till maybe Houston on Sunday to look for their first road win. Final score, Phoenix 130 and Golden State 119. Warriors dropped to 6-9 on the season.
Tim Roy on the call right here on 95.7 The Game. Warriors lose again on the road. They dropped to 0-8 on the road. First time they've done that since 89-90 when Chris Mullin and Mitch Richmond and Tim Hardaway were balling for the Dubs. They dropped to 6-9. They lose to Phoenix for the second time this season. First time they played Phoenix, they gave up 134 points. Last night, they gave up 130. Both times, they give up 72 in the first half. Defense, it's a problem. Shot selection, it's a problem. Klay Thompson right now is an issue. And we're going to talk to Anthony Slater, who just wrote a riveting article on The Athletic at theathletic.com. Anthony Slater, of course, covers the Golden State Warriors. And he was down in Phoenix yesterday. And you have this nugget in your story, Anthony, as we say good morning to you, that Klay Thompson has the fourth worst true shooting percentage in the NBA. Killian Hayes, Jabari Smith, James Bouknight's in that category. Klay Thompson, he's not making shots, he's not taking smart shots, and he's not defending. And I know you saw this last night when Klay Thompson missed back-to-back threes in the third quarter, down 90-83. And the second time he shot it, Wiggins is wide open in the corner, and Draymond Green just slumped his shoulders. This Klay situation, I don't know what the solution is, but he's just not playing good basketball right now, and I don't know what you can do to fix it, Anthony.
Yeah, look, you mentioned that stat. What are the other three players have in common? They're like low usage, like kind of bit players in a sense. Like, Jabari Smith gets minutes in Houston because everybody gets minutes in Houston, but he doesn't take 15 shots a game. Klay Thompson's second on the team right now, second on the Warriors in shot attempts while shooting that percentage. So, it's basically Killian Hayes type efficiency, which is near worse than the NBA on, high volume. And, that not only, impacts an offense, just like the pure numbers of it, but it, I think deflates a team at times. And you saw that in the third quarter. It's been very difficult for the Warriors to get stops. And he, after two stops, when you're pushing it up in transition, he kind of chucked a couple shots that clearly seemed to me, that was when the game slipped away, right? They just feel like the life was sucked out of the team at that point. And it's difficult because how many games over the years, especially prime Klay Thompson, but even at times last season, do they kick that up to Klay? He hits two in a row and he's pumping everybody up, and it breathes life into the Warriors. And Klay is searching for that Klay, but it's just not. It has not come at least through 12 games. And that's one of the many problems for the Warriors.
Right.
It should not all be blamed on that. But,
No doubt.
I mean, again, when your second highest usage player is shooting, 35% overall, that's a problem.
So there's so much with the Klay thing. Like just a couple months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, he was good in the finals. You know what I mean? Like he was good in their run.
Throughout the postseason.
Right?
Yeah.
So, what has happened? How did we get to this point?
I don't know exactly how much to blame his inactive summer, and I don't want to say inactive as far as he didn't step foot in his gym, but he just didn't play competitive basketball. It's not something he's hidden. He's spoke about the fact that he wouldn't, but that led to a slower preseason. I mean, it was a surprise to all of us, even who covered the team, that they're about to go out for their first preseason game, and they're like, "Look, Klay hasn't even scrimmaged yet. He can't play." That slowed him down. He's been very short on a lot of his shots early in the season. It's the point Kerr has made, and Kerr as a shooter, that's legs. That's, he's got to get his rhythm when you're short on everything. But also, he was good in the playoffs, and the percentages were fine. I think some of us, because he had been, his legs had been built up to that point.
Yeah, he shot, not to cut you off, but he shot the same percentage from the field and the three-point line as he did in the regular season. He did it in both the postseason and regular season. Same exact shooting percentages from the field and the three-point line.
Yeah, there was that, I would say maybe 4 or 5 week period right after he came back and he was pressing, though. And it was a lot of these similar problems. And, you could even, the Poole was coming off the bench and it was kind of an issue. he got really hot. Remember the last 6 games of the regular season
Yes.
last year? It was 28 points, 37 points, 33 points. He's kind of searching for one of those stretches, but the problem, and we're seeing, is when he's searching for one of those stretches, he's so thirsty for shots. And this is a team right now, and we discussed it with the young guys. Like, the young guys are searching for rhythms in their careers, and, the Warriors giving them time to do that kind of impacts the team's winning. Well, that's what's happening with one of the veterans right now. They're giving him time to find himself, and it's kind of impacting winning.
So what's the adjustment here? Because the two thoughts cannot coexist. This whole I didn't play at all, and we didn't have any scrimmages leading up to this, but I got to be a 30-minute a night guy, and we have to ramp up to that immediately. But I'm also not going to play back-to-backs. There's got to be some concession at some level, be the player, the team, whatever. What's the adjustment that they need to make to be a better winning team right now?
I mean, I think he has to take just smarter shots and less shots, really. I mean, he could have just taken 9 shots last night, not taking a couple of those transition bombs because he's trying to get himself in rhythm. Steph Curry had 50 points last night.
Right.
He's the one that should be taking heat checks, right? But and again, I thought they solved it at times last season because he started to they always say let the game come to you, take shots in the flow of the offense. If somebody gets a paint touch, gets downhill, kicks it out, and it's a Klay Thompson catch and shoot 3 wide open, shoot that every time if it's within the offense. If there's 20 on the shot clock and you're 4 feet behind the line and the feet aren't really set because you just caught it in transition, probably don't take that one.
But what about the defense, Anthony? We're talking so much about the shot
for everybody. Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, specifically his defense. There's got to be some adjustment or acknowledgement. Part of what made him so special was his ability to guard people on the perimeter, and at times you see it. You just don't see it for the long stretches like you used to.
Yeah, I mean, his lateral quickness isn't what it used to be and won't ever be what it used to be. He's better now at guarding 3s and 4s even, Kevin Loves of the world than he is. The 2s are quicker 3s, definitely the 1s. You saw it against Memphis. They would not put him on John Morant.
No.
No, no. And nobody's... but go ahead. I'll let you finish your point.
Well, I just mean, to your answer of or to your question of what the answer is, I mean, you're not just going to turn back the clock 4 years. Gary Payton II is not sitting on your bench. What is the answer? I mean, maybe it's on the outside of the organization and eventually it gets added, but Jordan Poole is not going to suddenly become the defensive answer. He has to play like he did in the finals, because I thought he was actually pretty good defensively in the finals. But until he can physically get there, the answer doesn't exist on this Warriors roster.
No, I'm with you there. Anthony Slater, our 95.7 The Game insider here on the Morning Rush. We love Slater. Does a great job covering the Golden State Warriors for breaking it all down. Klay Thompson's just struggling. Hey, you had a tweet last night, and I looked at the numbers for him. What was it, 185 field goal attempts, and he scored 181 points? Is that correct? Or is it the other way around?
No, it's more shots than points.
Yeah, more.
It's just incredible. I mean, it's always been, it's never been like this for him, but he doesn't shoot many free throws, never has.
Right.
Chucks a ton of threes, which are obviously, they get you more points, but they're lower percentage. It's just he's 35% overall. He's 33% from 3, which he's taking the 10 most threes in the league, and he's shooting 33%. The only guy up there in that high volume amount. With lowest accuracies, Kelly Oubre. You remember?
Oh yeah, we all know Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, there you go. So, and again, I feel a little bad because he's one of 7 issues that they're dealing with right now. But to me, it was the loudest one last night.
No doubt, it was the loudest one last night. Now, Look, I know there's been conversation with the fan base about bringing Klay Thompson off the bench. Steve Kerr's debunked that twice in the last week, saying he's not coming off the bench. And I don't even think that helps. I don't even know if that's the issue, because the starters, for the most part, have been good. But there was a lot of talk about connectivity, the chemistry, camaraderie. Steve Kerr mentioned it in this presser. He was downtrodden. I haven't seen Steve Kerr that down on his basketball team in quite some time, where he basically said, we need to get together at the free throw line and huddle. We need to talk. And I keep thinking back to the punch in training camp where Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole. And Draymond can't be Draymond anymore, right? It's but if he's barking on defense, how's the rest of the team going to look at him? You know what I'm saying? After that, the leadership that he lost there, the chemistry's just off, Anthony. It is hard not to overlook that punch that happened in training camp.
Yeah, and it's a very intangible thing to know. I could be around the team every day, and it's still like, how do you measure how much like a situation that's, by the way, never talked about? Like, you never hear people discussing the punch. Draymond, I think he's been fine behind the scenes, and I think he's had actually a pretty good start to the season, and he's playing mostly, last night not included, but mostly with a lot of energy. But I did see what you're seeing as far as, last night might have been a type of night in Phoenix that early in the first quarter, second quarter, they're not, they're the bottom 5 defensive team in the league right now, and he's just not standing for that, right? He's yelling about every mistake. He's, getting on people on the bench. Or last night, remember when they cut back after that Clay sequence we mentioned earlier, and Steve Kerr's talking about, like, trust your teammates. It was a mic'd up segment. Draymond seemed like he was biting his tongue, right? He was like, kind of looking the other way. Like, you could tell he was steaming, and I don't know how much he's thinking, hey, I can't, go off right now. Because in the past, you feel like he would have. I don't know how much that has to do with what happened in preseason, but, that's there. And also, I think when I see the young guys, like, moping around on the bench, not being fired up, to me, I don't think, that's because of what happened in preseason. I just think they're not playing good. Their careers aren't getting off to a good start. Like, they're more frustrated individually with their own situations, whereas last year, like, JTA and Damian Lee might have been frustrated or not, that they weren't playing very much, but, like, they were fired up regardless every night.
Maybe I'm looking too much into this, but Jonathan Kuminga was out yesterday due to an illness, yet he was sitting on the bench. They showed a shot of him sitting on the bench. What was going on with Kuminga? Was that a surprise to everybody that he didn't play last night?
Yeah, I mean, it was a late scratch, so it was a surprise. I can't sit here and, like, dispute,
right?
What potentially might have been going on with him. I'm sure he was feeling under the weather. So, I mean, like I said, it was a late scratch. He probably would have played 12 minutes, 10 minutes anyways. I don't know.
You referenced, you said, hey, there's like 7 things wrong going on with the Warriors right now, and Clay's just one of them. Jordan Poole, it feels like another big part of it because you're talking about Draymond Green and the defense in general. What the hell's going on with Jordan Poole? Like, how do they figure this thing out?
Yeah, I mean, just like 3 nights ago, he scored 36 and was like, the best player on the floor. And obviously, he started that night, and for whatever reason, like, I think he started 4 times this season. He's been like his numbers are way better when he's starting. He fits better with the first unit. He seems to just bring more, decisiveness and aggressiveness. Which last night he didn't have that. What was he, 0-5? Just kind of an empty night. I mean, they kind of need him to get himself going on a more consistent basis. He had stretches last year that he was, this quiet, but now he's in his 4th year. Now he just signed a big deal. He's coming off of playoffs where I thought he brought it every night, even if the points weren't always there. Like, he brought it. You're not seeing that as much. Again, I don't know what the answer is. I think we know that Steve Kerr's answer will not be to put him in the starting lineup on a regular basis. He continues to, reiterate that.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because I think you might lose Clay a little bit if you tried something like that at this point. I mean, they continue to reference it last night, but, like, you have to trust what Clay's done over the years. And also, because of what Jordan Poole's going to be making, like, they need him to juice up that second unit that's struggling, like, on a consistent basis. And they're trying to find combinations that work better for him. But Jordan Poole's still going to play a ton of minutes. It's not like you're sitting there on most nights, like, even if he's not starting, right. Like, Jordan Poole's still got, 25, 30 minutes. Like, do more in those 25, 30 minutes on a consistent basis than he's doing. He still has good nights.
No doubt. Anthony Slater, our 95.7 The Game insider here on 95.7 The Game. So, look, I don't know how this team continues to get better if Clay's going to struggle the way he is and Jordan Poole's going to be inconsistent, and they're not playing the youngsters. That's 4 picks since 2020, 4 first-round picks that's not playing. James Wiseman's in Santa Cruz. Kuminga's not getting consistent minutes. Moody didn't crack the lineup last night or the rotation last night until the 4th quarter. I mean, it's a lottery pick here. And then, of course, Patrick Baldwin Jr. is not ready to go. So is there anything, you're around this team every single day. You have a good sense of the organization. And not to say that you know what's going on with the inner workings with Bob Myers and Joe Lacob and company, but do you think the Warriors would roll with the ship and just fall with, hey, you know what, this is the core group. They've won us a lot of games. Let's ride this out. Or would the Warriors do the unthinkable and break up the core mid-season and maybe make a move?
They're very patient, right? Bob Myers is kind of the head of that. I wouldn't say Joe Lacob screams patience when he's over there sitting on the sidelines. agonizing over every possession. But generally, Bob Myers is like, I guess a calm operator, particularly in season. He very rarely makes in season trades, and the biggest in season trade he made obviously was that D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins swap. And when he did that, that was the lost season. That was when they knew pretty early on it's over this season. So he was almost operating from a off season approach because they'd given up on that season. And when he did that, he reconfigured the core and he ducked under the tax. They got off Jacob Evans and Omari Spellman. That was a money-related move that was based on, hey, look, we're not contending, so get out of the repeater tax for a year.
Right.
I'm not saying the Warriors are ready to go down that road. 6-9 is a very small sample. Mm-hmm. There were times last season, Bob Myers and Steve Kerr have admitted it. They had conversations with each other. This is around February and March, and we're like, I'm not sure for a true contender. They were saying that last year, and then they won the title. So I just think they are still in the mode of wait and see. But eventually, it's going to get deeper into the season. You are going to have to make a more calculated decision. And to me, that time is more January, early February, because that's just when not only are you pivoting off your plan or not, you're deciding whether you should. But other teams in the league are much more willing to
do they have enough time to wait that long? Yeah. Is it? I don't know. That's the question I've got. Can they afford basically to wait that long?
I mean, you could make. Vontae is asking more about just absolute monumental, blow it up.
I am too.
Yeah, I mean, you got to you don't give up right now. You don't just go.
No doubt. It's only 15 games. And Anthony, a few Mondays ago, I was mentioning how. You wait until January. I agree 100% with that. You wait until January. You wait until February. You see if you got a hot streak in you. You see if Klay Thompson can start to hit some shots. We'll see if Jordan Poole can pick up that 6th Man of the Year candidate. But if they are basically 5 games under 500 mid-January, I wonder if they're going to make moves. And I can't get over the Stephen Curry article in Rolling Stone where I don't know how deep were the conversations about, hey, maybe we should go get Kevin Durant. He wants to request a trade. A lot of people made it out that the Warriors made a call about Kevin Durant. I don't know. But it certainly feels like Brooklyn is going to have to pivot at some point, and Kevin Durant could be had, which would be insane, by the way, if he ever wore his uniform again. But that's, I can't unsee that, Anthony. I can't unread that Rolling Stone article where Steph Curry was quoted, the leader of this franchise, the face of the franchise, where he basically said, yeah, there was conversations.
So one thing that's got to be noted within any Durant discussions now is, especially back then when when that was even a topic, Andrew Wiggins was trade eligible and Jordan Poole was trade eligible. They are currently not trade eligible.
Right.
They've signed extensions. You just cannot trade them.
Nope.
Until this upcoming off season. So because of that, to me, that makes the deal so hard. Even this theoretical deal very hard to even sync up. Obviously, you still have big contracts that are tradable. Technically, Draymond and Klay. I'm not sure you're making the Kevin Durant swing to bring him back to a team that isn't, the core that he once left. I don't see it happening. I also don't think Brooklyn would be interested in, absorbing a Klay contract or absorbing a Draymond contract. Obviously, you'd add picks, you'd add young players, all that. But I don't personally see something like that happening. To me, it would, if I was to guess, and again, it's so early. This is not typically transaction time, although a Jay Crowder deal might be, on the precipice in Phoenix, not for the Warriors. Is not what I'm saying. But I think something smaller around the edges. They're going to be eventually in the buyout market. They have an empty roster spot. Maybe it's one of the young guys. It's not a blow-up situation. We all know the young guy that seems most likely right now. You get a veteran. You try to juice up your 7th, 8th, 9th man. But I don't think monumental, moves are on the way.
All right, Anthony Slater, man. He's the man on the beat. We love him on the roast. Yeah. Do a great job. We'll see you Friday night when the Warriors take on the Knicks, who are tough, physical. And, Tom Thibodeau's going to want to win that game on a Friday night at Chase Center, so it should be a lot of fun. Anthony, always thank you for the time.
Knicks just went, winning Utah, winning Denver. So they're
no Jokic, though. No Jokic last night for Denver.
Still, Randall was fired up. I was just, adding to your point.
No, Anthony. Randall does love going against Draymond Green, though. That's a matchup he loves.
Yeah, and typically Draymond likes going against him, so he's going to need to be fired up.
Yeah,
No, look at you two, league pass honeymooners.
Hey, man, Anthony, he knows what's up, man. Hey, Sacramento, he's covered the Kings. They're playing the fun brand of basketball. Kings fans feeling good, Anthony.
Shasky's going to be yeah, they are feeling good up in Sacramento. Shasky's going to be watching the Knicks game. Like, wait, Tom Thibodeau, who's that again?
Oh, come on. He looks like Mr. Despicable.
No, Shasky's up here watching highlights of the Eugene Emeralds up in Oregon.
I am.
Giants minor league
and
system.
Andor episode 11, which was out yesterday. Thank you, Anthony.
All right, fellas.
All right, Anthony Slater. Klay Thompson, man. Wow. Jordan Poole, wow.
B, I don't know
Warriors,
if they can wait that long.
Warriors.
I know everyone's saying, like, you got to wait till January. And it's like, B, this is not good.
Warriors 0-8.